How's it going, everyone? My name is David, and this is the PPL Season 4 D2 Power Rankings for week number 3. You may be wondering, where's Bird, where's Ethan, and what happened to week 2? So, Bird had to take a break due to whatever reason, personal reasons, mental or whatever. I didn't ask. So I came in as a temporary replacement for Bird while he was dealing with his stuff. And then I was added super last minute. Ethan and I couldn't get a schedule done for week 2. Week 2 ended up passing, and we were halfway into week 3. We still couldn't figure something out. And then Ethan decided that it was just a lot of work for him, so he had to drop. He was busy with his real life stuff, and that's completely understandable. So here I am, the was replacement, now permanent addition to the Analysts, and I'm here to solo record the power rankings for week 3, having seen only the power rankings for week 1, watching the week 2 battles, and then the week 3 battles. So let's jump right into it, I guess. I'm going to try and keep it short because it's just me. And yeah, so right at the start, we're going to look at Raikkonen and his Nidoqueen Park Rangers. He played Aston Akai in the AS Rallets. Not a great match. It wasn't an ideal matchup, to say the least. Very aggressive team from Eric, with things like Infernape and Zygarde and Thundy and all that stuff, and like Raikkonen said, he had a lot of trouble preparing to deal with that, so he ended up bringing a really fun team, which I actually really liked the team. I kind of wished the Azelf was banded or some sort of like boosting damage item as opposed to a third Scarfer, but that's neither here nor there. As far as the match in general, Raikkonen just kind of messed up a little bit. It wasn't a great matchup to begin with, and Eric played it extremely well, but Raikkonen kept going for sub and sub and sub, hoping for a power whip miss, and he just never got it. Whether that's lucky for Eric, unlucky for Raikkonen, or neither, is neither here nor there. I think a better play would have been to just kill the Ferrothorn anyway, because instead of playing for misses at that point, because then he would have had a 75% HP Mega Garchomp, and he could have probably used it to kill more things, and it would have been more useful. Instead, he left it it was at 26 or something, and it ended up dying to some random move. I even forget what. But then later on, he had the Mew, who died to a roll of the Scarf Togekiss' Signal Beam, and Air Slash didn't kill, and Signal Beam was a roll. He decided to go for a roll instead of going for the 60% flinch chance to guarantee it in range, and worst case scenario, he goes out into his Thundurus again, and then that Mew is still in range of a Dazzling Gleam later on, and it wouldn't have gotten its recover up. So yeah, he ended up going for the Air Slash play later when the Mew was even healthier, and it just ended up not working. He ended up flinching down the Thundy, which was cool, but aside from that, it was just it was not in Raikkonen's favor, to say the least. But I think both sides played it well, and Raikkonen's 0-3, so he's got to be near the bottom, unfortunately. Right above him, I have the Birmingham Spritzy, coached by Onesie. Onesie brought some cool stuff. He played against Chi in the new Crustal United. He got really caught up in thinking that the Crocodile was scarfed, and ended up throwing away a lot of Pokemon for just no real reason. He threw away the Hariyama, he went into Coco on the Crocodile and then switched back out. I don't remember if he said that was a misclick or something, or what. It's been a while since I've seen the video, I'm sorry. But yeah, he ended up sacking a bunch of mons to the Crocodile, that ended up putting him really far behind, and getting caught off guard by the HP Fire Downlies was also kind of cool. I did like the Hariyama. I did like the idea he was bringing with gravity on a lot of his mons, and it's unfortunate that they didn't get to show off their stuff. But yeah, a really straightforward game. Onesie just ended up bringing a lot of stuff that ended up not even seeing play because of how she played out the mid game. But that's that. Nothing you could really do about it. He's 1-2 right now. So up above him is our other 0-3 player, our good old buddy Other Dave, or Original Dave. I'm Other Dave. Shroom and the Parasect Germain. He played against the Harlem Gloomtrotters and Kyle, and there was a lot of good plays, and there was a lot of like unfortunate events that happened. He ended up sacking his Terrakion thinking he can kill the Serena. He ended up losing his Vaporeon super early, which I didn't really agree with. I think it was kind of had to happen though, based on how the lead matchup started, and I think this game really showed how important getting the right lead and getting the right call right at the start really matters in a league battle. Because you call the wrong lead, then suddenly something on your team is taking a lot more damage than you originally expected. And so Shroom played a couple of the turns very nicely. He stayed in with the Salazzle and caught the Keldeo with the Toxic. He got some good damage on it, and I think overall he played it alright. It's just Kyle played it better and sort of kept momentum, and he got that lead. He got the lead matchup right. He ended up applying pressure from there, and he never let go. And unfortunately, Shroom couldn't make a huge play to come back from it as much as he tried. I did like the Salazzle. I did like the Terrakion play. I think it wasn't incorrect to do that. I just didn't know, because I feel like in hindsight he could have went to Mandibuzz and gotten some chip damage or something, but he thought he can kill, and that's perfectly fine. Maybe it was a roll. Again, been a while, but yeah. So that's Shroom at number 10. At number 9 though, we have the AS Rowlets. They were low beforehand. I believe they were number 11th for my week 2 stuff. So they moved up a couple of spots. Mostly just solid play. Rai losing Garchomp to a bunch of substitutes was pretty cool. Ferrothorn ended up doing a lot more work than I guess Eric originally expected it to at that point. Spadef Mew living a Signal Beam was really nice. Gyarados put in a ton of work, and really showing that the pickups of Gyara and Thundy really coming into fruition and showing off their stuff, and just really showing up for the Rowlets. I kind of covered this match when I talked about Raikou already, so we can move on to Ellie versus Carson. This match was kind of cool. I think Ellie played it extremely well. I think there was some really good play from her, really good reads the entire match, and just like I said, when you win the lead matchup, or you get I forget how the lead matchup started. I think it started with Conkeldurr just showing up and then just bulking up in people's faces. But my point stands. Ellie started the early game, got Conkeldurr in. It started setting up. Fizdef Conkeldurr was a really interesting set. I'm actually really glad it worked out. It ended up 1v1ing a bulky DD Zard X, which is not something you see every day. And it was just really good play, keeping momentum from there, and just awesome stuff from Ellie. The leech play was really good on the Milo to scout for the mirror coat, but yeah, unfortunately I think that was a lot of Carson messing up and getting tilted from the early poor plays and then riding that tail all the way to a loss, unfortunately. But that's Pokemon. Hopefully you can bounce back. Next up, we have the wonderful game of the Liverwurmple FC, coached by Richie, but he had to get a substitute in Sinister Sableye, who played against the Portland Timbers and RTK. And I have no real comment for this game because it ended as soon as the freeze happened. It was a completely different game if that freeze didn't happen. Man, so many things would have been different. It would have been such an interesting game to watch. There was a lot of cool stuff that Sinister Sableye brought. I did think he played poorly around the Finny. He said he expected the taunt, but he didn't play around it anyway. And that was sort of a mistake, but that's really the only thing I can comment on. Just he got frozen, RTK frozen with a D-Knight, and then D-Knight set up for game. Not much you can do about it. Happens to everyone, really. But up next, at number 6, we have Kyle. Like I said at the beginning, he got the lead right, and he just kept momentum from there. It was just non-stop aggression. A lot of the stuff didn't even have to show up. FizzDef Keldeo was really good. I'm a little upset that at HP Ground Blissey didn't get to do stuff, but you know, that's HP Ground Blissey. Or it did get to fire off an HP Ground, I believe, but I think it killed off a Sash Salazzle or something. I don't remember. I just remember that Banded Victini is ow, and that Kyle kept momentum throughout the entire game. So good on you, Kyle. I'm glad you got a win. Let's see if you can keep getting them. Your team's really cool, and I want to be able to justify putting you up here in the top half. Up next is the New Crystal United, who played Onesie. Really good prep. I really liked all the sets that she brought. I think he played it really well, and although I'm saying all that stuff, I do think this was more of a Onesie losing rather than the New Crystal United winning. There was a lot of like overthinking and over predictions, and like, this is a Scarf Crook, so I'm going to switch to this and then go to this, and then it ended up not working out. So that's all I really have to say about that. I think Tri-Punch, Fake Out, E-Belt, Ambipom is hilarious. And I don't. It's too much. I can't. Up at number 4, I should say. Up, not down. We have the Chicago Bewares, and I say down because I dropped them from week 2 because they got a really rough 6-0 loss to Ellie, who I had a little bit lower. Yeah, he played really poorly around the conch. The Scarf Bluff with Braviary was really good, but he was just kind of playing on tilt, and when you play on tilt, you get 6-0'd. It's just what happens. It's facts of life. Hopefully he shakes that off, and his next week goes great. We have the West Chan United at 3, and they lost not really to any play of their own, much like RTK's win. Jim's win came from a lot of misses. 2 Hydro misses and missing a T-Wave completely changed the game. It went from being a really interesting, really even game to just Jim cleaning out and clearing the game with the Agility Blaziken. And that's really unfortunate because it looked like it was going to be a really good game. There was a lot of interesting tech on both sides. And missing 1 Hydro is fine. Missing both cost him his Starmie 100%. and then missing the T-Wave lost them the game. 90% accurate. And they say T-Wave wasn't nerfed this gen. That was, yeah, I don't know what else to say. Much like the Livermore Bowl, West Ham United didn't really lose to anything of any sort of misplay that they made, unless you count missing as a misplay. Yeah. So, in our number 1 and 2 spots, we have the Pineco Ramblers and the Portland Timbers. The Portland Timbers jumped up super high from my week 2 because they are the 3-0 team, and even though they won because of a random freeze in the early turns of the game, they still played it well. Before that freeze, they knew what they had to do to win, and they played to win, and they're 3-0, so they have to be up here, at least close to the top. Both of these teams won due to hacks, kind of. Liam missed, so Jim won, and RTK froze, so he won. Although Potato Jim's game was a lot closer and a lot more interesting because they were smaller. They were a bunch of little pieces of little misses, as opposed to like one that just completely changed the game. I thought Quick Attack Sylveon was really funny, and I'm glad it worked. I always love seeing memes, and you get bonus points for memes, I swear. Yeah, so that's pretty much the week. I don't know what else to say, so all the teams, I guess, all the teams are actually really close, so it's really hard to justify not doing big jumps when one team wins and one team loses. It's a lot less clear cut on who's truly the top and who's truly the bottom here, and I think that's really cool. It's not something I've seen in other leagues that I've done analysis for, so I'm excited to be a part of this and continue doing these, hopefully. So with that, I will close out the power rankings. I will see you guys next week. Peace.